Nie strasznego na samym gardurze prócz mnie i moje żadne miejsce. Ale sam neredesin küçük kız? Seni bulamıyorum. Neredesin?
Hey you guys, my name is Brianna and here on my channel we talk about God and we spread that truth and love. Go ahead and hit that like button at the bottom of this video so we can spread this godly content out in this YouTube algorithm. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Here on earth, there are demons and there are people that have given themselves over to the devil. And these people are hosting so many demons that they're not in control of their own body. How to spot a demon. They have a certain dark energy or presence, and they do certain facial expressions and body language that gives them away. The closer that you get to God, the more likely it is that you're going to encounter a demon because the devil has low-key done everything that he could to scare you away from God, to distance you away from God. And now your light is becoming too bright. You're going to wake up too many people. You're going to destroy his plan. So he's going to send his best soldiers. Encounter number one, it happened when I was staying at my mother's house the last time around. Staying there, I was barely waking up. I was getting really close to God. And I was starting to see the evil spirits that were working through my family members. Like I did a lot of waking up there. And there was one night I was sleeping on the couch because I slept in the living room. In the middle of the night, I was woken up by a energy. And I just so happened to look in the hallway right in front of the door in the house when there's like this little place where you can put your shoes and things like that. I'll put a picture right here. But I just so happened to look over there and I seen like dark figures that wasn't so captured by the figures, more so of the energy that I was feeling. And all I did, I just kind of sat there in the Lord's presence and took it in and basically was like, you know what, I'm just gonna let that be what it is and go to sleep because I'm not gonna sit here and be trying to fear something because I need to be fearing the Lord. And later on, God told me that that demon, what that presence was a buildup of all the evil spirits that were working through my family members in that home. Encounter number two, this was during the time that I was a flight attendant for Spirit Airlines. Very, very demonic field. A lot of evil spirits in that field. But as a flight attendant, I had a flight. And on this flight, it's like God regurgitated a lot of things that I had dealt with being a flight attendant, things that I was dealing with in the crash pads, things that I was dealing with in training, things that I was dealing with on the airplane. It was all regurgitated onto that flight. And on top of that, I encountered a demon. This lady comes in and I'm working the exit row seats, the second set of exit row seats. And she just so happened to be in my exit row. And when I first see her, she gives me this creepy smile. I do my exit row briefing and she asks like this ridiculous question. It was a disrespectful question that she was trying to cover up in comedy. And she had two friends with her that were not as demonic as her, but they were definitely her followers. That's what it was giving. And so when she asked me that ridiculous question, they chuckled, like looking at me like, why am I not laughing? And she was still doing that creepy smile, like she's seen something in me right away. So I just was like, whatever, I brush it off. So I'm dealing with her, but I'm basically just ignoring her. I remain unbothered, but I was boiling on the inside from everything that was dealing on the flight. And she was just trying to antagonize me the entire flight, saying little jokes, mocking me from her seat. Nothing to do, went to sleep. But the girl that was one of her followers, they kept like doing little things. Every time I would do something, they would make a comment at it and like laugh. And I remember at the end of the flight, she was getting off the flight and she was like trying to wait for people to get off the flight so she can have like her last encounter with me. And as she was exiting the flight, she was expecting me to go above and beyond to be a worker. And I was just like fed up with her antics. When she waited for people to try to have this last encounter with me, she was surprised by the fact that I made bold eye contact with her. And then so she tried to do this overly nice goodbye in a mocking way. And I basically said goodbye to her in a way was, you're done. This flight is done. Stop trying to have an encounter with me. Get off my plane. After I did that, she was so bothered by it. As she was leaving the plane, she kept like looking back at me to try to find a reason to have another encounter with me. But she didn't have another reason, and I didn't give her that opportunity. I just started acting like she didn't exist. Second one, as a flight attendant. So it was the same creepy smile that I got from this lady. So I was working the first set of exit rows. And this is when I first like seen her and she seen me. And I can see when somebody sees something in me and it bothers them. So she seen me, she seen something in me and it bothered her. She did the same creepy smile. And I just looked and I kind of brushed it off like, you're not in my exit row. You're above me. This is not even my section. So it is what it is. So she was sitting on this side of the plane. Her husband was sitting on this side, the other side of the plane. And they had their child. They kept passing the child back and forth. And the only free seat on the plane was right in front of her. And it was a long flight. And those exit row seats were really hurting my back. And it was also awkward because they had the exit row seats facing another person on the plane. So I didn't like going to the front of the back of the plane because there was too much gossip going on. So I would always find the extra seats. And I was also dealing with a lot on this plane. There was a woman. I'm gonna find that Bible verse in Matthew as well, where Jesus was talking to that man, and he was just talking crazy out the mouth to Jesus when he saw Jesus, telling Jesus, "Why are you here?" And just talking crazy at the mouth because he was taken over by demons so much that it was just coming out. And then he ended up saying like, "Jesus, I know you're going to rebuke us, the evil spirits out of this man. So just go ahead and rebuke us into those pigs." And then they ended up dying. So the lady, the lead on this airplane, she was very much so like that, just crazy out the mouth, just say all kinds of crazy things. And I just was taken aback by how people were so bothered by me being quiet or not speaking too much or not wanting to gossip. But this crazy woman who just was just flying out the mouth, just going off on everybody, all the entire flight, like the entire trip that I had with her, got into it with many people, how she's been working here for years. But that's neither here nor there. And so I was hungry at this time because we had a long trip that day. So I went to go make me some of the noodles that they have on the flight, and I was going to sit down in that seat that was free in front of that lady. As I'm sitting there eating the food, she gives her baby back to her husband, and as soon as I sit down and start eating my food, the baby just starts going ham, kicking the back of the seat. And so I'm just like, it wasn't bothering me too much, but it just made me want to turn around like, what is going on? Why is this kid kicking the seat like that? Like, why is this being allowed to happen? So I turn around, and of course, like, she's like on the other side, next to her husband, but he's right behind me and she's on the other side of me. And she's doing that. It wasn't even a smile. It was just this look in her eye that she was just doing everything she could to get under my skin and bother me, y'all. It was just like, it was the same look of that creepy smile look, but there was no smile. Encounter number 3. So when I was in Florida, and now that I'm looking back on this, I'm missing Florida, even though I hated the entire time that I was there. But I didn't hate the nature of things. I hated the spirits that I clearly seen in a lot of people out there. Like, there's a lot of evil spirits going around in Florida. It was a struggle to work out as a flight attendant. So what I did was I would always go to this park. That park would get me out of the crash pads and just get me to some type of form of fitness. So I was at that park as much as I could go to that park. I got a sense that told me that something was going to happen because I've been at this park on a regular basis. And I was just like, okay, cool. I'm not going to stop coming to the park. It wasn't telling me don't come to the park no more. It was just saying something's going to start happening because you're here on a regular basis. It was just like a warning. So I was like, all right, cool. I keep up because it was a big park. I'm out here trying to catch up to these older white ladies that's out here walking, past me like I'm just like the slowest thing coming. I'm just like, what the heck? All I seen was cast, and it was just going, going, going. But but yeah, I was a regular there, and I got that sense. And then so after I got that sense, I was kind of still enjoying myself while I was at the park, but kind of just watching what's going on. There was one day I was walking around the park, and for some reason I feel like I've seen this man a couple of times. I don't know if it's because I walked around the park more than once, or if he was sitting in multiple. You know them park benches that are cement. He was sitting at one of those. So when I see this man, I I see it right away that it's not giving human. And it's just like, y'all, I just don't want to make this like kooky weird, but it's just what it is. And I need people to understand that these encounters do happen. Like once you start turning your life more spiritual and giving your life to Christ, you see all types of things. You sense all types of things. So many things going on in your life that the average person wouldn't believe. But see this man, I'm already seeing that something ain't right. So he's sitting at the benches, but like he's like sitting there like kind of like this, just kind of like dissociated, but like just sitting there. And I can tell that I'm being watched by him. Like it's giving monitoring spirit, you guys. It wasn't giving fear me, I'm coming after you. It's giving like I want you to know that I'm monitoring you. And it's like I'm not monitoring you as like it's one of the park perverts. It was not giving that at all. It was just giving like I'm watching you and I want you to know I'm watching you. And I kind of took it as what's up, it is what it is. But I did end up after I like saw him a couple of times, I just kind of went ahead and got on my bike and left the park just to keep it cool, keep it cordial, because at the end of the day, I don't want to give you that ability to even sit up here and monitor me. Second thing that happened there, and both of these people were black. So I'm walking around the park and there's this black lady. She was like behind me. And I kind of like moved to the side because she was like, walking up on me. I moved to the side to let her pass, but it's just like she didn't want to pass. And what I take from that situation, or what I remember on the situation, she had the same energy as that guy, was also giving monitoring spirit. It was giving that she wanted to get as close to me as she could. We're not going to sit here and act like it's not going on. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, that's good, that's extra kooky. No, I'm going to address it and address you, basically confronting you exactly with what you're doing, so it's going to stop. And so when I kind of walked to the side to like let her pass and was just like standing on business, like, what is it, like what you want to do, she like zoomed by basically. And that kind of was what the situation was. But it was given the same energy, you guys. It's crazy because it's like, oh my gosh, like you just know that these situations would scare the average person. And then also with the average person not being a true believer, they wouldn't understand it. They wouldn't understand like the counter. Even when you try to put it into words, it doesn't come out what you know inside of how deep it was. And I only other true servants of God, true believers who have similar encounters can basically hear what I'm trying to explain and be like, I know exactly what she's talking about. And I know why she can't really just put it into words, because it's more spiritual than it is earthly. It's more spiritual than it is simple words. It's all about that energy. It's all about what they're bringing. And it's all about basically what they're telling you straight up. And when confronted, boy, do they flee. They flee, they flee, they flee. And yeah, that's why it's just so important to stand on business when it comes to God, because it's like, okay, you trying to scare me, you trying to intimidate me, you're trying to mock me. Okay, I'm gonna remain unbothered. I'm gonna remain standing on business. I'm gonna remain fearing the person that really needs to be feared, because all you're trying to do is make me fear you instead. And why would I do that when He's the one that can destroy the soul in the body? Even if you say the name Jesus, they have to flee. People expect it to be more scary than it is, but if anything, it's more enlightenment than scary. So I see why God allows it to happen, because it takes so much to wake people up. And people also need to realize that everybody's walk, I heard this recently in another Child of God's video, everybody's walk is not the same. Everybody's different. All of our DNA is different, and all of our blueprints that God has for our lives is different, because it takes different things to be able to relate to people. And God works in mysterious ways, does wondrous things, lets wondrous things happen to you to wake you up. And God allows certain things to happen in your life that are very spiritual rather than in this reality world that sometimes are unexplainable to get you closer to Him. And it just is what it is. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.